You know that famous quote about how the only two certainties in life are death and taxes? Well, the quote is usually attributed to Benjamin Franklin, but I'm actually convinced he must have written that well before his real estate investing career, because every real estate investor knows that the certainties in life include vacancies and tenant turnovers. Those are absolute certainties. So in this video, I'm sharing my 6 best tips for dealing with vacancies in your rental properties. First, let's quickly cover what a vacancy is and what to expect. So in a perfect world, your rental property would be rented out 12 months a year, every day, right? But unfortunately, that's not always the case. You might have a vacancy for a few months after a tenant moves out or when you buy a new property. That's always going to happen. So here's what I want you to know about vacancies. Number 1, it's normal. Any business is going to have its downfalls, and this is just one of them. If you owned a grocery store, you would expect to occasionally have issues like loss of inventory. Maybe one of the refrigerator units would go out and you lose your entire meat section. My father owned a grocery store, and that happened. That's what happens. Equipment breaks, unhappy customers. It all happens. I want you to think of vacancies as a normal part of your business. Don't panic about it. It happens to every real estate investor who's out there. Look, I get it. The nerves and the panic are to be expected, but if you're a new investor, you need to set these expectations early on to understand that this is going to be a part of the process. If you understand that vacancies are all part of the process, then these nerves and anxieties you experience will dissipate because it's going to happen. Remember, you're not the only investor who's gone through this, and it's going to be okay. Number 2, patience is key. If you're in the midst of a vacancy, I understand that you want to get a tenant in there in your rental property ASAP, right? ASAP. Hey, property management company, when are we putting a new tenant in there? They just moved out last week. I need this person filled right now, right now. But let me remind you of something. You're not seeking out just any tenant. You want the right tenant in the property. Your goal is to rent your property to a high quality, respectful, reliable, long-term tenant who's going to stay there for a number of years if possible. You don't want someone to move in who's going to trash your place, is going to pay rent late, or ultimately move out soon right after that. And then you're going to have to go through the whole process again. You do not want to do that. I'd much rather wait, take the time, even if it's a month, 2 months, 3 months, find the right tenant. It might take a while to find the right fit, and that's okay. Number 3, trust your property management team, but don't be afraid to check in on them either, right? If you did your due diligence in hiring the right property management team, then you should trust them to fill this vacancy. It benefits the property management company to keep your investment rented because when you're collecting rent, they're taking a cut of that profit, right? They only make money when you make money. So they want to see your property rented just as much as you do. Check in occasionally with a quick email or a phone call, but don't nag them on a daily basis. They obviously want to fill that property too. Now, if you're a Morris Invest client at our company, please connect with our property and customer service team. That is what they are there for. Just get on the phone with them. That's what we have them for, okay? Often you can get an answer quicker from us than you might actually by going directly to the property management company. Our team is a liaison and does all of that for you at Morris Invest. So again, contact our team if you're one of our clients, and we will handle that very quickly. Number 4, be prepared. Since this is an inevitable part of the business, do yourself a favor and prepare for it to happen, okay? Add this expense into your return on investment formula, your ROI formula. We recommend having 4 to 6 months of reserves available to protect yourself so that if a tenant does move out and you have a month or 2 months where there's no tenant in the property, you have those reserves to be prepared. And after all, then it is a business expense for your business. So these are all things that can come out on your taxes as well. Number 5, be realistic. Real estate investing is a powerful way to build wealth, but it's not some magical, perfect process. Nothing rewarding in life is without its hurdles. So think about parenting. It's one of the best things in life, but there are plenty of hard decisions and there are plenty of difficult moments too, right? Like I like to be able to sleep in till when my alarm goes off. But when you've got little ones, they're going to wake you up before your alarm. So I like to get up at 7 a.m. to start my day, but my little girl jumps in bed at like 6:15, right? And moves around nonstop. And now I'm awake 45 minutes earlier than what I've liked, right? That just happens. That's going to be part of the process. Now, when you expect perfection, you're just setting yourself up for disappointment. Being a part of the solution is powerful when you're running a business, and having realistic expectations is the first step in that solution. Number 6, think long term. Remember that every single successful investor you know has had a vacancy. I know I've had my fair share of vacancies. Do you think that Robert Kiyosaki or Robert Shimon or any of the other famous real estate investors out there have ever had a vacancy? I can tell you with certainty the answer is yes. They've had more vacancies than you could probably fathom at this point. And if you're a new investor, you might freak out about it. Do you think they're freaking out about it? No. So I want you to do this. I want you to imagine yourself in the future. Imagine you have 50 rental properties, okay? Would you be concerned with one vacancy? Imagine if you were Robert Kiyosaki and you had 200 properties or 2,000 properties. Would you be worried about one vacancy? Heck no. I know vacancy might seem like an emergency right now, but as you grow your portfolio, it's going to feel less and less of a big deal. Your job is to nurture your portfolio so it can take care of you in the future. And I know that a vacancy can be intimidating if you're relying on it to pay off a loan, but if you keep your long-term goals in mind, eventually that mortgage will be paid off and you'll be much closer to reaching your freedom number. Those are my tips on vacancies, but I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever had a vacancy? If so, what advice would you give about handling vacancies? Drop me a comment below. Next, I want you to check out this video on how to handle tenant turnovers. As I said before, vacancies and tenant turnovers are inevitable in real estate investing, but it's not the end of the world. So click on this next video and we'll see you next time.